For this week's assignment, I'll be reviewing Argument Wars, brought to you by iCivics. iCivics is a website that allows you to play a lot of American civics type games, covering virtually every area of what I teach in the course: Constitution, separation of powers, the executive branch. Most of these games are meant for review. It's something where you learn about the Constitution in class, you discuss it, do other assignments, and this game, Argument Wars, allows you to kind of refine those skills, to implement a lot of the things that you're learning and actually use it to argue and win an actual Supreme Court case. It does cover a few different areas. It allows you to utilize the Constitution in a way that you really can't use it in a typical class, and it also brings in some historical knowledge of landmark Supreme Court cases. In Arguments, you can choose to argue any of the cases that it gives you. Some major landmark Supreme Court cases like New Jersey versus TLO, Miranda versus Arizona. You don't necessarily have to have knowledge of the case to win the game, but you do have to have knowledge of the Constitution on how it works. You can choose different cases. And then get started. Now the nice thing about this is you have student accounts. It keeps track of your progress, and you can see how well your students are doing. And in this case, I am representing Ernesto Miranda against the state of Arizona. And the judge kind of keeps a rolling tally on how the case is going, and you can see your progress as the case progresses. You argue your side of the case. But the judge kind of in a way asks the question the teachers would ask. But as I said earlier, you do have to have a little bit of background knowledge about the Constitution in order to play. Once the game starts, you're prompted by the judge to take different actions. And you have a number of choices that you can choose from. So it is multiple choice, but at the same time, you do have to have a little bit of knowledge to know which choice is the correct choice. You have to confirm your case and confirm your choice. And judging by whether or not you have the correct choice, you get awarded points, and you could possibly win the case. You have to draw cards of your case. For example, the guy that was arrested was not given a lawyer. I have cards in my hand that I can play that would help win this case. So I can play a card that best supports my case. And the whole time you're playing, it guides you along, tells you how you're scoring, and this bar goes back and forth to determine how the judge's ruling is going to turn out. Pretty much runs a player through how to play. I've just played a card that relates to the case, that helps support my argument. Well, you have to click and drag a card up to the pitch to play the card. And once you do that, the judge rules on your argument and lets you continue, or tells you that it's irrelevant. You can't argue that. You have to connect the cards that you're playing to support your argument. It kind of builds on a lot of the things you would talk about in class, but really gives the students a context in which to see how these constitutional issues play out. Choose the right statement in order to make the card relevant. So if you have a right to a lawyer when you, for protection during questioning, you must be told. It kind of explains why you're using this card. If you don't choose the right phrase or the right argument for using this card, you won't get awarded points and you definitely won't get to win the case. And you can see that because I made a very good argument, I'm starting to be awarded points and it looks like I'm winning the case. Now my opponent will take their turn and play their cards. As you can see, they have cards to choose from as well. I can object to this or pass if I think their support is good. And this is kind of another interesting tool that allows you to see the opposing side, and you have to weigh that, what they're saying, and whether or not it's constitutional as well. I'm going to object because I don't think it makes any sense. And the judge will rule on that objection. And I was overruled. And as a result, I lose points. So this is something that the student just couldn't blow through. They'd actually have to read and weigh supporting evidence. And I'm arguing that the police use tactics that are unconstitutional. The judge grants it, so I need to continue this line of thinking. I'm not really sure what they're trying to argue here, but I'm going to pass. And I've already kind of been hinted as to what I should do here. In judging by what the other lawyer is saying, I can choose to object or choose to continue. I just allowed the opponent to basically hang themselves. So they'll probably lose points for this. So again, I'm using a constitutional argument to support my case, but I have to be able to understand that argument in order to use it. I just can't use the Fifth Amendment and expect that the judge is going to understand it. Same thing as a student. A student just can't say, oh, well, what's the Fifth Amendment? They have to explain why. Sound. Looks like I'm doing this. So you get the general idea. It's a very good game, pretty motivating. And it's something that causes the student to have to utilize background knowledge. I just won a badge for playing Argument Wars. And the judge is going to rule on it. And I win. And then you can go on to the next case. And that is Argument Wars.